Have you ever wondered about the most infamous giant in history? Picture this. Towering at an astonishing 9 feet 9 inches, Goliath of Gath was a colossus among men. Emerging from the ranks of the Philistine camp, he was not just any warrior, but a champion, draped in armor and exuding an aura of invincibility. Imagine standing in the shadow of such a giant, his massive arms capable of reaching heights that would make the bravest soul quiver. This is the tale of Goliath, the giant who dared to defy an entire nation, and the unlikely hero who stood against him. Prepare to embark on an epic journey into the origins of giants, the rise of Goliath, and the remarkable story of a young shepherd named David, whose courage and faith would change the course of history. Long before the epic clash between David and Goliath, the origins of giants were enshrouded in mystery and divine intrigue. The Bible first introduces these colossal beings in the book of Genesis. It speaks of a time when the sons of God, interpreted by many as fallen angels, descended to earth and found the daughters of men to be exceedingly beautiful. From their unions were born the Nephilim, mighty giants who roamed the ancient world, renowned for their great strength and size. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. Genesis 6:4. These giants, born of both divine and human lineage, possessed extraordinary abilities and became legendary warriors. Their existence stirred awe and fear among the early peoples of the world. As time progressed, the stories of these giants were passed down through generations, each tale adding to their fearsome reputation. In the quiet hills of Bethlehem, a young shepherd named David tended to his father's sheep with unwavering diligence. Unbeknownst to him, his seemingly humble duties were preparing him for a monumental confrontation that would change the course of history. While David roamed the fields and pastures, he faced two separate and formidable challenges that would forge his courage and skill. One day, while David was watching over his flock, a fierce lion appeared, threatening to attack the sheep. With no weapons but his staff and slingshot, David's heart was filled with bold determination and deep faith in God. In a dramatic display of bravery, he confronted the lion and, through divine strength, struck it down, rescuing the sheep from certain destruction. On another occasion, a menacing bear emerged from the wilderness, seeking to devour David's sheep. With the same fearless resolve, David faced the bear in a fierce challenge. His experience with the lion had prepared him well. With strength and courage, he killed the bear, seizing it by its fur and delivering a decisive blow. These encounters with wild beasts were not mere accidents, but divine preparations. Each victory over the lion and the bear was a step towards the greater challenge that lay ahead. David's experiences in the fields, filled with faith and courage, shaped him into a warrior ready for the giant Goliath. His trust in God, demonstrated in these trials, would become the cornerstone of his upcoming battle. The stage was set for one of the most legendary confrontations in biblical history. The Israelites faced a formidable foe in the valley of Elah, a dramatic landscape surrounded by majestic mountains that overlooked the battlefield. On one side stood the army of Israel, their faces etched with fear and uncertainty. The opposing side, the Philistine army, was led by their champion, Goliath of Gath, whose towering figure struck terror into the hearts of the Israelites. For 40 days and nights, Goliath, clad in resplendent armor, defied the Israelites with his thunderous challenges. Each day he emerged from the Philistine camp, his massive frame and booming voice a symbol of the threat that loomed over the Israelites. His presence was a constant reminder of the seemingly insurmountable odds facing the Israelites, and the Philistine drew near and presented himself 40 days, morning and evening. 1 Samuel 17:16. In the midst of this daunting standoff, David's path to the battlefield was guided by divine direction. David, still a shepherd boy, was sent by his father to deliver provisions to his older brothers who were stationed in the Israelite army. This seemingly ordinary task was part of a greater divine plan. As David arrived at the camp, he witnessed the Israelites' fear and Goliath's challenge firsthand. And Jesse said to David his son, "Take now for your brothers an ephah of this dried grain and these 10 loaves, and run to your brothers at the camp." For Samuel 17:17. David's arrival at the battlefield marked a turning point. His keen observation of Goliath's threats and the despair among the Israelites ignited a spark of determination within him. Unfazed by the giant's imposing stature and the collective fear of the Israelites, David's faith in God empowered him to take on the challenge. His bravery, stemming from his previous victories over the lion and the bear, prepared him for this momentous encounter. As David listened to the murmurs of the Israelites, he was not dissuaded by fear. He questioned the men around him, asking what would be done for the man who killed this Philistine and removed the disgrace from Israel. David's faith and courage were evident as he spoke of the living God whom Goliath had taunted and defied. David's eldest brother, Eliab, overheard him and was furious. He accused David of presumption and having an evil heart, suspecting that David had come only to watch the battle. But David defended himself, insisting he had merely asked a question. Word of David's boldness reached King Saul, who sent for him. Standing before the king, David declared confidently that no man's courage should fail because of Goliath. He, David, would fight the giant. Saul doubted David's ability, pointing out that David was just a young man and Goliath had been a warrior since his youth. But David recounted his experiences as a shepherd, how he had fought and killed lions and bears to protect his flock. Just as the Lord had rescued him from the paw of the lion and the bear, David was certain God would rescue him from Goliath. But David said to Saul, "Your servant used to keep his father's sheep, and when a lion or a bear came and took a lamb out of the flock, I went out after it and struck it and delivered the lamb from its mouth. And when it arose against me, I caught it by its beard and struck and killed it." 1 Samuel 17:34-35. Goliath's head was protected by a bronze helmet gleaming in the sunlight. His body was covered by a coat of scale armor crafted from overlapping metal plates that weighed 5,000 shekels of bronze. This armor, though heavy, allowed him the freedom of movement, making him a deadly adversary. His legs were shielded by bronze shin protectors, adding to his impenetrable defense. A bronze javelin hung between his shoulders, ready to be deployed with lethal accuracy. The shaft of his spear was like a weaver's beam, thick and sturdy, capable of withstanding immense force. The spearhead, made of iron, weighed 600 shekels, a testament to its destructive power. Accompanying Goliath was his shield-bearer, who walked before him, further enhancing his defense. With a voice that echoed across the valley, Goliath stood and shouted to the battle lines of Israel, "Why have you come out to draw up for battle? Am I not a Philistine? And are you not servants of Saul? Choose a man for yourselves and have him come down to me." His challenge was clear and taunting. "If he is able to fight with me and kill me, then we will become your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then you shall become our servants and serve us." The words of Goliath hung in the air, a dark cloud over the Israelite camp. His confidence was unshakable, and his challenge was a direct affront to their courage and faith. The sight of the giant, armored from head to toe and armed with formidable weapons, was enough to send shivers down the spine of the bravest soldier. Armed with only a sling and 5 smooth stones, David faced Goliath in the valley. The giant mocked David and his God, but David's response was a powerful testament to his faith. Then David said to the Philistine, "You come to me with a sword and with a spear and with a javelin. But I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. 1 Samuel 17:45. With a single well-aimed stone, David struck Goliath in the forehead, causing the giant to fall to the ground. David then took Goliath's own sword and with divine strength ended the giant's threat. The victory was a testament not to David's might, but to the power of God, who demonstrated his strength and protection for his people. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and struck the Philistine and killed him. 1 Samuel 17:50. The story of David and Goliath is not merely about David's bravery. It is a profound display of God's power and divine intervention. It illustrates that no matter how great the challenge, God's strength is greater, and he stands with those who place their trust in him.